Hey, traders and investors, this is Vishal from Equity Guru. Happy New Year. And I think this year is going to be a fun one and perhaps, quite a volatile one for markets and chart attack. So let's kick off the year talking about cryptos and, why Bitcoin and why cryptocurrencies have been pumping. As you can see here from my chart, this is the daily chart for Bitcoin. Very, very strong start of the year here for Bitcoin, but you can also say the same thing for, let's say, other anti-US dollar type assets such as gold and silver, which we will be talking about very shortly here on Chart Attack. But Bitcoin and cryptos, why are they pumping? There's been some big moves here in Bitcoin. Ethereum has also made a big move as well. We've also seen quite a substantial gain here in Litecoin, although this trade here, in my opinion, is more of a technical retest and pullback. But big question again, why are cryptos pumping? Very simply put, things are turning on the macro data set. It looks like the investors and the markets are basically predicting peak inflation or have already predicted peak inflation. We are seeing inflation drop. And the markets are now anticipating some sort of Federal Reserve and central bank pivot, or at least this, dovish sort of rhetoric from the Federal Reserve and Jerome Powell, where interest rates will maybe just rise very slowly, well, not slowly, but in less amounts, so your 25 basis points. And maybe we're even close to that restrictive terminal rate, right, where the Fed will end rate hike cycle, or this rate hike cycle. And that's what these markets, in my opinion, are anticipating, right? You can take a look at the bond markets. You're seeing yields drop quite a lot. People are talking about, recession when you see retail sales are coming in less than expected, especially the holiday ones. And you're also seeing these major corporate layoffs. And essentially, what that means is, you'll see this drop in the US dollar, which sort of translates to higher gold prices, and in my opinion, higher crypto prices. And I think a lot of my followers and readers know that I like to call Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, risk on assets, meaning that they will pump and they will move alongside the equity markets, which have also, recently seen quite a nice little gain in the last few days, although we are now seeing rejection at certain key levels. And be sure to take a look at my weekly video, my Outlook video, which will come out at the end of this week, where I talk about what's happened this weekend. I will cover what I think is going to happen on these equity market charts. But for Bitcoin, just like the markets, risk on assets, we've seen that rise, and now we are seeing multiple days here of struggling at a resistance level. So this key resistance level on Bitcoin is around 21,375, let's say it, and it's technically the lower high that we've printed on Bitcoin. And you can see here that lower high took us all the way to these lows at around or just under 16,000. And since then, we have never been able to break back up across that lower high level. And lower highs are key, because as long as we are beneath the lower high level, technically the downtrend is still intact, which is, resulting in many market analysts now expecting a continued decline in Bitcoin alongside the stock markets. But let's look at one chart here, the weekly chart, which might give some of the crypto bulls some excitement. And that is, on the weekly chart level, we were watching this major support level around 18,000, 19,000 here. And there was a big breakdown, right, which happened in November, which finally took out this support level, a support level where Bitcoin was bouncing multiple times and we were holding above, right? So it looked like we were going to create a bottom here and perhaps rise or bounce from here. But instead, we broke below in November. And no continuation, right? So that's a bit of a good sign that you saw no continuation, although you can maybe say that's due to the holiday liquidity period. And then finally, to kick off this year, we had this big green candle, weekly green candle, big price action, which actually took us back above this resistance level. And now resistance has turned into support. Very quick lesson here on price action. Generally, when you see a breakdown or a breakout, there tends to be a pullback, right? Where you will retest the level that's been broken, which we'll see, in this case, because it's a breakdown of support level, it will see sellers step back in and therefore provide them an opportunity to jump into the trend and take prices lower. That did not happen. That did not happen. And instead, Bitcoin closed above that resistance level, which is basically saying that that breakdown that we had here was a false breakdown or a fake out. And basically that would mean we have a trend reversal and things should start to get bullish. So what I'm going to say here is if you are a Bitcoin trader, I would, obviously you have to watch this resistance level, right? The 21,300 zone. Watch for a close, a strong close above that. You can see here we're getting a lot of wicks on the daily chart indicating there is this battle between the bulls and the bears. But remember, what was once resistance now becomes support. So I would watch to see if something like this develops, where you will pull back, retest what used to be resistance, now turns support. On the daily chart, you can maybe even bring this down to about 18,400, right? Because you can see multiple touches, which is really what you want to see. And this is why I don't like to call support and resistance, with one price level. I like to call them zones because that's truly what they are, right? It's like a range that you have to either close above or break below. So I would watch to see for some sort of pullback to see if the bulls would step in, and that can take us higher. Longer term, I do believe that perhaps the bear market in the stock market and consequently crypto markets is not over just yet, but a lot of it will depend on that February Federal Reserve meeting, right? Because now everyone's expecting them to change stance, be a bit more dovish rather than saying that the Fed's going to do what they have to do and they will stay the course, but instead sort of changing their rhetoric, talking about, okay, we're seeing layoffs, we are seeing the economy slow down because retail sales, the consumer is getting pinched here. Perhaps we won't be raising interest rates as much as we think. And because inflation levels or that CPI numbers are trending downwards, perhaps we're at that zone where we are at that terminal rate. We can sit here for some time, see how things go, and allow that inflation number to drop. And if it doesn't drop, then maybe in future Federal Reserve meetings, we might have to do something about it, right? So it's going to be interesting to see their stance. As I said, the 10-year yield is already indicating this sort of capitulation from the Federal Reserve, which might result from now till February, a bit of a bull market in cryptos and perhaps even the stock market where we might see this level break out, a bit of a rise. And then, as I said, we will hear from the Fed, see what they say, because if they do stay the course, I think the markets are going to be quite surprised. And then you can maybe see that continuation downtrend in Bitcoin, which is what people are saying, right? A lot of people are saying that this is just a pullback in a bear market in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So I just want to say right now, things do look bullish on that weekly breakout. We will see how a retest goes, and perhaps that will lead to some more strength heading into February. And then once we hear from the Fed, we will have to see what happens from there. But that's it for me, folks. Let me know if you are a Bitcoin and crypto bull. Do you think this is the bottom, or do you think this is just a pullback in a bear market? Do you think the Fed will surprise in February? What will that do to the equity markets as well as the cryptocurrency market? I really want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and give us a thumbs up, and I'll catch you guys all in the next Equity Guru chart attack video.